Well, hello, everybody. I'm Ed Parcaut, the host of Helping the Brave. Let's bring our guest today, Kristof Morrow. Thank you so much for coming on the Helping the Brave podcast.
Shakespeare. Ed, you're very kind to have me. Thank you.
Oh, no.
Mm.
I want everybody. I want every vet. I mean, I'm going to ask the question, but I'm already going to tell you. I know you're a Navy vet. I
hmm
read up on you. Why did you pick the Navy?
Shakespeare. I wanted to be a corpsman. I wanted to spend my time with Marines. Uh, I saw an opportunity. Not really for. I felt that valor was uh, a noble pursuit, and corpsmen are expected to behave in that sense. Yeah.
And how long did you serve for?
It was about a year and a half. I developed Shakespeare. I developed Tourette's, which crippled my ability to do my job. But I have a whole story about the VA. The VA has been wonderful for me so far.
Really?
Yeah,
You're exception to the rule for most people.
I know. I think it's because I'm Shakespeare. It's partially because I'm young, and I don't have a lot of like other health problems right now. I still only deal with like mental. If I deal with mental health stuff and not anything else physically.
And they know exactly what's
Shakespeare.
wrong with you.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. And for most people, I don't think most people
Mm.
haven't dealt with anybody with Tourette's or know anybody with Tourette's. And how does it, so what year did you go in?
2008.
Okay. So you went in, and then while you were in, where were you stationed
Mm.
at?
In Naval Air Station, Jacksonville,
Okay.
Florida.
Yeah. And then that's where the Tourette's came out.
Yep. Yeah, I was working at the hospital at the time, and it was the middle of the night, and I hadn't slept in days, and it looked like a seizure. And luckily, there was a physician, like less than 10 feet away from me, doing work on a computer, and he ran over, and they tried to figure out what it was, and they couldn't. They thought it might be a brain infection, or I don't know. There was a number of things that they tested for, but ultimately, it was discovered later in retrospect that it was Tourette's. It was the first manifestation of that.
And for most people who don't understand what Tourette's is, what is Tourette's?
Tourette's is a neurological condition. It's a syndrome, which means that it's a pattern of symptoms where the underlying cause is unknown. Shakespeare. And so Tourette's means that I have vocal and motor tics, things that are involuntary movements, and saying involuntary things like Shakespeare. And I hit myself, and I've broken knuckles and and done a great deal of damage to my hands because of it, and my face.
And I don't understand. I mean, I'm a corpsman. All right.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I was a Navy corpsman. I was stationed at Camp Pendleton, and then I spent a lot of times with the Marines. So yeah.
Wow.
I think as corpsmen like to give back, and I
Yeah.
always tell people Marines are my people more so than Navy people are my people.
Yeah. People don't get that.
Yeah.
People don't get that generally. Yeah.
Because I wasn't stationed. I was stationed at the hospital at Camp Pendleton, but I spent most of my time in the field and other things. And then I ran.
Mhm.
I was an EMT, and then
Mhm.
physical therapy, and
Oh,
then
wow.
But before all that, I was out with a lot of readiness teams and stuff. So I did a lot at Camp Pendleton, so I'm going back through my journey through the VA and getting my benefits, because when I got out, I got a small amount, never went back, and then I'm being pushed to go back and have somebody helping me. It's amazing
Mhm.
what you forget
Mhm.
about what you happened to you and everything you go through till you start thinking about it. I think a lot of us as
Mhm.
veterans, we just get out and go, okay, yeah, that was not the greatest time, or that happened to me, no big deal, I'll just move on.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to make sure that every veteran who gets out, make sure they go through with the right
Mhm.
people to make sure they get their benefits, because you sign on the line to go to war for our country if that was what's called for you. And so you
Mhm.
need to get all the benefits. Even if you didn't go to combat, there's still stuff
Mhm.
that can affect you. Because I was explaining that when we pulled duty at Camp Pendleton, we were EMTs, but we weren't just EMTs. We were like paramedics, because in the military you can do everything. And we used to get
Mhm.
pulled out to the freeway for major accidents.
Wow.
Major, yeah, because
For
we were at
civilian
that,
accidents?
huh?
For civilian accidents?
Yeah, yeah, because we would be there as a supporting role, just because you got to remember, a lot
Wow.
of people in Southern California are military,
Yeah.
right? And especially if they're right in that segment. I don't know if you know where Camp Pendleton is, but if they're on that road, that segment right there, there's a 50% chance it's going to be a military person that needs to go to the hospital. And so we
I
would
see.
pull duty out at San Onofre, which is San Clemente, and then occasionally get pulled over to the freeway. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't, this is not about me. This is about you. So let's go back to you.
Shakespeare. Yeah, I didn't think anything of my time in my service either. I of course like I I lost a shipmate to suicide. Uh and he was my LPO, and it was really uh incredibly shocking and disturbing. Um but that's in part an experience that I had that I didn't realize affects me still. And that's something that whenever I went, I had a VA, a guy who does VA advocacy for veterans. I published my book, and I met him through that avenue. And he told me, he said, "Have you gone to the VA? What's your rating? What's your disability rating?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't have that." And he's like, "Are you? That's crazy."
Yeah,
He's like,
that
"You
is,
need to go."
first of all, that was crazy that you were out with Tourette's and you didn't get anything.
Yeah, I did. Shakespeare. I wasn't diagnosed until I was 27. They didn't know what it was until I was 27. Um,
And when did you get out of the service?
when I was 20.
Wow.
Yeah. So I went a long time not knowing what was wrong with me. Uh, Shakespeare. But I filled out the necessary paperwork. They gave me a 70% rating, and then Shakespeare. The condition makes me. There's a. You probably know this, of course, but Shakespeare. There's a program for people that become unemployable due to their conditions, if it's service connected disability. And Shakespeare, mine makes me. It's impossible. Day to day, I could be dealing with like a bloody nose, a black eye. It's quite painful, Shakespeare, to deal with. Uh, so I qualified for that program, and yeah, the VA takes care of everything I need.
Now you're at 100% now?
I'm rated still at 70%, but I'm
But you
compensated at 100%. If that
have
makes
you went
sense.
back to fight the 70%?
No,
Because
it
who helped you? Because I'm going through with a Ranger Johnson. Have you ever heard of him?
mm-mm.
He's a new, I ran into him through doing my podcast and everything, and the guy's amazing. And
Yeah.
he's really big on getting everybody to get your rating up to, and because I had a few things, but they came back originally back when I first got out and go, that's nothing. You get to, because back then they fought even so greatly not to give you anything. And
Mhm.
he fought for 19 years, finally got it, and has a whole system now to help people get their rating. And his goal is to get everybody that he deals with, if they
Mhm.
have an issue, all the way to 100%. And a
Yeah.
lot of people don't realize that it's percentages added up numbers to get to that
Mhm.
number, not just
Yes.
one number at 70%
Mhm.
or 100%. Because I
Mhm.
remember when I've been in the mortgage industry forever, and I used to help
Oh.
people, yeah, and they're 100% disabled. And I see him, I'm like, you're thinking 100% disabled, laying in bed doing nothing. No, this guy was out doing everything. He was like, no, and I didn't understand that. And so
Yeah.
now I totally understand it because of what I'm going through with everything.
Yeah, it's an extraordinary amount of information that hasn't been properly disseminated, like to
Correct.
people, to veterans. They kind of just dump you like on the side of the road, like you were a kidnapping victim. They're like, the heat's too much. Get them out. Yeah, and so they and so Shakespeare. I didn't see any kind of. I wasn't involved in any kind of program to transition, uh, and we never discussed anything like VA benefits or anything like that. Um,
And I think again, you're out in 2009. close to 2010.
2010.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying year, yeah, but it was right in me, and someone's gonna get upset, but that administration didn't care about us.
Mhm.
That's what you look at is how we're looked at by different administrations and how things are done and how things are done for us. And now, you had 4 years, a few years ago, of people who cared about us again. And then when
Mhm.
9/11 happened, everybody cared about us again. And
Yeah.
then, right? And then it changes a little bit. And when I try to tell people, I got out in 90, and when I first got in, when I was in San Diego, there were signs on people's, and I didn't remember this until I was interviewing a guy 3 months ago, and he's like, "Remember the signs that were on the grasses that said, 'Keep your sailors and your dogs off our grass'?"
I yeah, I don't remember that.
I was in San Diego. You wouldn't have seen it in 2008. It was in the 80s, late 80s,
Oh, I
early
see.
90s. Yeah, yeah. It was way, and because San Diego wants you there, but they didn't want you there, and at that time. And I'm
Mhm.
just saying it's again, I'm doing this and I push to help a lot of vets because of the fact of how I've seen how we're treated. Plus, my son's an army. He's in the army right now as a was an airborne medic. Now he's just a combat medic, and I see how people treat each other, us now. They treat us really well, but then the administration doesn't treat us as well because every veteran should get everything they're deserved because of the fact of that they served this country. Period.
Yeah.
Line and simple.
Yeah.
My dad and my uncle were Air Force veterans during Vietnam. My dad died of hairy cell leukemia from Agent Orange. But
Oh, wow.
when I was a kid, though, they're like, no, that wasn't caused by us. And that was up until
Mhm.
30, almost 30 years later after he died. They came back and
Mhm.
said, oh, yeah, by the way, did they retroactivate and help all those families who lost a loved one who didn't have that person there? No, but they should have.
That's bananas. I can't believe that. Wow. I had a woman, yesterday I met a woman, and she was talking to me about how she didn't get her husband's VA benefits when he passed away, and he was 100% disabled according to the VA, and it was because he didn't serve during a time of war, and I thought that that was, uh, a really strange disconnect that they,
Is that what they
you know
said?
that's what she told me.
Oh, yeah, but that's really weird because I know a lot of people who, I mean, got it and they passed it on. And it could be the rule, but that needs to change too because just
Mhm.
because you got lucky during those, because I missed the Gulf War by 2 days. All right.
Wow.
Yeah, and thank God, because the people I know from the
Mhm.
first one, they're not the same as I mean, when I got out, everybody asked me, "You gonna go in the reserves?" I'm like, "Hell no, Navy stands for never again volunteer yourself." I'm not gonna, because they're gonna send us, we will go to war. Because at that time, that was the same time, in the 2000s where they were using
Mhm.
reservists more than anything else. And then we had 9/11
Mhm.
happen, and you got reservists who spent, I interviewed a guy who spent 60 months over there as a reservist.
Wow.
That's active duty didn't even spend that much time over there.
Mm-mm.
He's messed up from it,
Yeah. I
because that's a lot of
my
time to be over there.
my, the shipmate that I told you about earlier that I lost, he was a Marine before he joined the Navy, and he served in the early part of, uh, Operation Iraqi Freedom. So he was there in 2003, 2004, 2005, and yeah, he was not very well because of that. He dealt
Yeah.
with a lot.
And did he go there as a Marine or as a Navy?
As a Marine, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I didn't know this when I got in. I had no idea that the Marines are a department of the Navy. That's how
Yeah,
stupid. I
no.
mean, I was a red dude. I was a small town, dirt road poor kid. I had no idea. I figured
Mhm.
it out from one of the ball games when it said this guy's going in the Marines and this guy's going in the Navy. Watching the Navy play. I was like, wow, no idea. And I remember I was telling somebody this on one of the podcasts, and he dropped his beer because he laughed so hard. That was, he
Mm.
was an older guy and he was on the East Coast, so it was later in the evening when we used to do them live. Uh, Now that you're all right, so you were in, and
Mhm.
so you I mean, the fact that you found it while you were in, but they didn't know what was wrong with you, but I don't want to say kicked you out, but basically they discharged you
Yeah.
medically, but
Mhm.
they didn't give you anything for being medically discharged. You couldn't work. how did you survive during that period of time?
Oh no, I had to work. I tried to work several for most of the years. Uh from 20 to 27, I had all kinds of jobs. Uh I I was actually a reporter. I won awards for that and for photography. But again, it's is a really unstable. It's hard to be consistent with a job uh, that requires you to be like there. It's you have to be sort of on call also. Like things happen and you have to go report on it. Like
Right.
I remember when during the Trump administration, the Secretary of State, or excuse me, the Secretary of Agriculture, his team of his like public affairs and all a bunch of teams, they got into a huge accident in Texas on the road next to my where I lived, and I had to go out there and report on that, like in the middle of and it was a whole thing. And I just uh, I just remember from I actually moved to Canada uh, when I was 27, um, and I stayed there for about 7 years, and then I moved back only just recently, back in April.
Why Canada?
Just adventure, honestly.
Okay.
I was married at the time, and um, I was. They have. I didn't have access to the VA yet, and I would have access to healthcare up
Right.
there, which uh, there's a there's a lot of misconceptions about it, but some of them are true. They're like the way that it's run up there. It's super not great when you need a specialist. That could be like you could be waiting years for a
Right.
surgery, but if you have like just the stuff like I was dealing with, uh, I just go to the ER and I was able to get everything I needed within a couple of hours. Um, but from 27 to 32, I was working at like Starbucks, things like that. And then I started writing when I was 32, I remember uh, it was like a month after I turned 32, I got a call from the British Columbian government who had been looking on my behalf to find work that I could do that would accommodate my condition. And they told me they couldn't find any. They could not find a job that could accommodate me. So they said, maybe you should go back to writing since you like that. And I did. And uh, I wrote this book.
The Second
And then a
Son, if
few
you're not watching, if you're listening, it's The Second
yeah,
Son,
yeah,
volumes 1 and 2, and you can find it on Amazon.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, I wrote that I started writing that book like 10 minutes after that phone call because I realized I had no choice. I was backed into a corner. And then after my divorce, I was because my wife at the time, she was the breadwinner, uh, and I stayed home and wrote. She After the divorce, I needed to find another job, and that wasn't going to work. And I when I met the guy from the VA advocate, that changed my life.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I also wanna get you to this other guy so that you can get that up.
Yeah, yeah. I had someone help me through the process too. His name is Mike. I don't know his last name. But he's a lovely guy. Danny Archer is actually a mortgage guy too, uh, and he's a really lovely guy. And he helped me get through all of the process as well to get the sort of rated at 100%.
Right, because you probably get so much from the VA, and then you get so much from the additional money to survive because you can't get a job. Is that what it is?
Yeah, right. So like I get 100%, like as if I'm 100%.
Okay. So
So
you
the
pretty
38, 31, whatever it is.
yeah, it's close. Yeah, if you're married, it's around 4,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that's supposedly going up. But I'm just saying that they they should have rated you right at 100. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, I mean, but
Yeah, I appealed it, so I don't know.
I know, but it's what I'm finding is it's knowing how to work the system.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
And they like because the guy I'm using, they help you, but like if you come back and they only get 80, they go back and they fight it again to get you to 100. And so, because that's what their goal is. Whatever it is, their goal is to get you to 100 if possible, if that's what you have those issues. And they go
Mm,
through everything with you. I mean, they went through everything I had and then other stuff that wasn't talked about when I first went there. So I'm just saying, don't
mm,
give up. And if you're listening to this and you do not have any disability benefits at all, you need to go and apply for them. Because even if you
absolutely.
minimum get, a 10%, you don't have to pay the funding fee on a purchase with a VA loan. There's just so many benefits, but you can get that up if it's done
Mhm,
right to much higher than that, to where you get 50, 60, 70, 80, 100%, and then you have money for
mhm,
yourself and your kids, and your kids can go to school for free and all those
mhm.
things depending on what state you're in and everything, because that's how that works. And you need to go
Yeah,
get disability benefits.
I've actually seen that there's even state benefits like you just mentioned that, like you don't have to pay property taxes,
Correct. That's
state
if you're at
property
100,
tax.
if you're at 100%.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So if you're not at 100%, you need to get there, because you sound like they got you there, but they just did it a backdoor way instead of giving you the 100%. Because I know in California where I'm at, it's and it depends on the county. It's anything over 200,000 is what you pay taxes on of the value of a
Oh,
home.
well.
Yeah. Where other states, it's you pay none at all. It's by state. And then, like in this state, through the program, if you're 100% disabled, your kids can go to school for free, and it doesn't matter if they work. If you're less than 100% disabled, they can't make more than like at the time was like $12,000 a year to go to school
Oh,
for free.
wow.
Yeah. So there's a big difference just getting from nine, to 100% with what you
Yeah,
get benefit wise.
I'm a cat. Shakespeare.
So I have
Yeah.
one more. I have a question for you. That you say Shakespeare. Would
Mhm.
that just come up, or is that a word that you started learning to say? Is it
Sh
from your
sh 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 Shakespeare. Um, so honestly, it's a product of, obsession, OCD.
okay?
I obsess about a lot of stuff, and, part of that I got from the Navy. That's also what I deal with. So I obsess about Shakespeare because I hope to achieve a similar legacy. Uh, and I also there's other words that I say that are I won't say on this program. But it's anyway. Yeah, it's whatever I obsess about. Just generally.
So do you focus on obsessing about something before you go on a show, so you say that word instead of other words?
No, it
Okay,
takes it would take a long time. Like there's I for example, I say I'm a cat, and that's a variation of another word. The cat is a variation of another word that I was saying that would get me in kind of trouble. If it sounds like cat a little bit.
gotcha.
Yeah, and so I try. There's really it's really hard to maneuver. It's really hard to grab the steering wheel in that
But it
sense.
sounds to me like you try to say different words instead of the ones you don't want to say, because I mean, a lot of people don't realize it because you hear about Tourette's and you hear people cussing all the time. And it sounds
Yeah.
to me like you've controlled that by sliding in other words that are close to that. Is that how that works?
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit. Like yes, yes. It's very simply, yes. You're right. But it's hard to pilot flawlessly. And I've been in Starbucks. And I'm doing my work, and I'll say a slur really loudly, and I have to explain to everybody that's around me like I have Tourette's. Because they look at me like with such like
Right.
contempt, like how could you use that word in public? And
Yeah. Well, you are talking with Starbucks people. I don't mean to,
yeah,
but
but they're very understanding right away. Like they're very nice about it
I'm just
generally.
saying, but a lot of them are a little bit going to the left more than to the right, and
Mm,
so they could be offended a lot more than normal. They're not
mhm,
all Navy
mhm.
vets. They're in it, right? So
Yeah.
I'm just saying they get offended a little bit easier than other people might. So
Yeah, I especially know I know that because I've worked there. You know,
yeah.
I spent a lot of time around baristas. I love
My,
them,
my
but
daughter-in-law, so she runs the store up at one of the stores up in Washington, because my son is stationed in, Washington State, and so that's what she does.
oh
Um,
wow,
yeah, he's in Korea right now, but yeah, so they're up there, and I helped them buy their first home at 21, which is what I think everybody should do that's a vet. So,
that's amazing.
yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Well, I mean, you're in the mortgage industry. I am. I mean, when you're in that, it's easier to tell other people what to do and help them do other things than what it is
Hmm.
for us to do for ourselves.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Yeah, totally is. Like someone can come to me and tell me something. I'm on no big deal. We'll get that done. But for me to do it and focus on myself, it's a little bit different. So,
Hmm.
um, what's next for you? Because you talked about your first book you wrote was The Second Son, Volume 1 and 2, and then you had The Second Son, Volume 3 come out in 24. And then I think you
Yes.
said you have another volume coming out in 25?
Yes, I have a book. It's probably going to be finished this year. Volume 4 of the same series. It's an epic fantasy series, but it's actually been considered a work of literature. So it's like I found out through Instagram. Someone wrote me and they said that they my book is used to teach Victorian literature
Oh, really?
classes, recommended reading. Yeah, to teach Charles Dickens, which is funny because that's who my greatest influences uh, by a Texas mile.
Well, now are you in Texas?
No, no, I'm
Or
Shakespeare. I live in South Carolina.
okay. Well, I just know you did originally, and you went to
Yeah, yeah,
Canada.
yeah.
I didn't know if you went back to Texas.
No, no, I've been all over the US, you know.
Now, does the books being a series help do you make good money off of them, or are they like a lot of other books, you just make some money off of them, hardly anything? Because I had a book come out 2 Februaries ago, called Financial Freedom: Building Personal Wealth Through Home Ownership, and it was all just to get the book out for educational purposes so people understood how important it is to own a home, and people love the book, but it's has not taken off like it should have because I didn't spend hundreds of $1,000s to market my book and other stuff that people have to do.
Well, luckily, I've gone viral on TikTok a few times, so I've been able to sell uh, a modest I feel like is a modest figure of books, which is a little over 2,000 copies, uh, and I've put very little money into the marketing,
Right.
Shakespeare. Yeah, so I haven't made very much money, probably around 3 grand
Yeah.
altogether.
So I use mine as a guide to help my clients understand the process, and then I give them out to tons of agents to give out to people. And I'm like, even if you don't come through me, I don't care. I want this information out there. I can't help everybody. But the way I
Mhm.
do it is different than the way other people do it. So I want people to understand this process. Um, Now on your book covers, who designed your book covers for you?
I had to do that myself.
And how
Yeah.
so for people 'cause, there's a lot of vets who wanna write a book, who wanna do stuff. You
Mhm.
should also add a class. You should maybe do a course on how to write a book, and push it to the military. I'm serious, to the
Oh, yeah.
veterans community, because there are a lot of guys who wanna write, and they don't understand how to get started, how to upload it through Amazon, how to get your covers done, where to get it done. Because I actually interviewed a guy, and what he does is he goes back and gets all the outdated books, where um, public domain books, redo the covers, redo that, and puts it in a store, and he sells them. He's like, they sell really well, and he makes good money off of that.
Wow, that's extraordinary.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of ways to do this, but I have 3 books right now I'm finishing myself. One on podcasting, a veterans version of my financial freedom: building personal wealth through homeownership. It's only for veterans. It also includes a whole part on benefits, and then my other one is a book if you're going through divorce, how to handle your real estate.
Yeah. It's a lot of work. I think that people really truly underestimate uh, how creative they are. I think that they're a lot more capable of, especially if they have a prompt. I've seen people who spend all their time doing math and science, coming up with really creative solutions to plot points. And yeah, and so if I did teach a course, like you mentioned, that I really would encourage a lot of veterans, if you really want to write, you just uh, the first draft, you just write it. You don't think about uh, the quality of the prose or anything like that. The quality of this, you just write the story as it is, dialogue and action the whole time, nothing else, and
You were
that'll get
also
you
a
through it.
journalist though, right?
Yes, I was. Yeah.
So you knew how to write. Did you go to school to learn how to write?
No, I taught myself.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I went to for example, I won an award for feature writing, which is really funny because I didn't know what a feature was, and the only feature that I've written is one I've won an award for. Uh, yeah, from the South Texas Press Association.
Wow.
So they told me, my editor, she said to write a feature. I went on Google. I Googled it, how to write a feature, and then I looked at a WikiHow article at first, but then I realized that uh, I found a feature of a writer from Vanity Fair that I admired, and I sort of like followed their sort of structure, and yeah, I won an award.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Congratulations. So now most people would just use ChatGPT to ask those questions. I don't know if you ever have. If you want to know how to do anything, you just ask ChatGPT to break it down completely. Like there was those
Mhm,
old books for dummies, right? Whatever it was
mhm,
for dummies or whatever. You can have ChatGPT break down exactly how to do something. And it will tell you all the way through. Like I'd use Go High Level. I don't know
mhm.
if you know what high level is. And I needed to figure out something. I just went, how do tell me how exactly to do this? And it went step by step. So I didn't
That's
even have to go
amazing.
search it. Yeah. Because if you Google it, you'll come up with other people's stuff, but it doesn't actually tell you what to do or how to do it. But
Mhm.
you can use Chat GPT to do that. And actually, I had a broken blind the other day and I took a picture of it and uploaded to ChatGPT saying, "I need help getting the part for this. Can you go search it and find me the places for this
You're
part?"
joking.
No, and it did. It found and it actually told links to go get that because on the blind, I have plantation shutters. One of our dogs hit it and broke the little tips that go into the thing, so you have to replace the whole
Mhm,
edge of it, and that was a pain. I remember finding it before searching through Google, but I'm like, it's got to be easier way. And there was. And that's why I try to tell people. And that's the same thing with a lot of people have a book they want or they want to write a book and they use ChatGPT to help them. And I'm like, that's fine as because I don't know. Some people use a ghostwriter. Basically, they're not good at writing, but they're good at talking. So they talk to somebody and tell them everything, and then that
yeah.
person puts it in their voice, and that's okay. Not if the person wrote the whole thing for you, but it should be your words. But I mean, so I tell people just however you can do it to get your book out, do it. But how did you? So did you create your own? Let me go back to your cover. You created the cover. Did you have the graphic designed yourself for like this? Is it a 6x9 book? How big's your book?
Well, like you said, I actually used the robot to do this.
What
The
robot?
I called ChatGPT the robot.
The robot. Okay.
So yeah,
So
it's really quite beautiful.
but I mean, how did you get the actual so when you uploaded it through Amazon, because I've never uploaded my own book. Somebody else did it for me.
Yeah.
And so I got three more. I got three that I want to do, and I haven't spent the time to figure out how to do, because they're almost there. I'm just
Mhm,
finalizing the last few pieces on each one. And I'm trying to
mhm.
explain to people how do you upload it through Amazon and not make a mistake.
It's it's a really intuitive process. They lay it out very simply. The interface is really easy to navigate. So it'll say like if you want to upload you have to do the cover art. The way you do the cover art is you make the image, whatever it is, the cover itself, the art itself, and then when you upload it, they have a whole web-based program that you design the cover with. So like the font and everything that's on here, like
Oh, so you
I
don't
that's
so you upload the actual graphic and not the words.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the words you design the cover yourself. So I chose this font, and then,
Mhm.
I chose it to put it here or here, and then the back here. Um it's you design all of this. But it's very simple. It's very simple.
And
Um,
then they come up because
like
you also need that ID that's in there, right? The barcode
the
thing, whatever.
ISBN.
Yeah, ISBN. They have that there too, right?
Yeah. So the way that works is that you can either purchase one from this website, which is like $300 for like 10 of them, for 10 books. So you'll have 10 books that you can
You do.
use. But you can also get one for free from Amazon. The trouble is that if you get one from Amazon and you take your book off of Amazon, you lose that ISBN. You lose all of the like reviews and things like that that you've garnered so far. But if you have your own ISBN, then that doesn't happen.
And where do you buy the ISBN from the other website?
Oh man, you have to ask Chat GPT because
Okay.
I've never done it. I've never done it. I just know how it works.
So how did you do it? So did you use Amazon?
Yeah, I use Amazon's.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's why I was asking. Yeah. Well, then because you don't sell your book at Barnes and Noble or any other place.
Oh, it's expanded distribution. So yes, it is available like at Barnes and Nobles and in Canada on Indigo. Yeah, so in those places you get less in royalties. You go from 60% to 40% royalties
If what?
if you do expanded distribution. So and libraries are able to get your book through
If you do
expanded
expanded
distribution.
like, distribution. Now, have you
Yeah.
done it? Have you had it done in other languages yet?
No, I've had people offer to translate it, but I don't feel comfortable Shakespeare getting that done unless they're compensated fairly, because it's an extraordinary amount of work, especially given
Because
the
there's distributors for that for other countries,
mhm,
and then
mhm,
you get so much. You keep the rights in America, but you give up your rights for those other countries. But then they pay
mm.
you a royalty on it.
Yeah,
I do know that. I've heard all that because there's one guy I know, he's in
mhm,
Japan or someplace, and that's all he does is he's from America, but he moved there 30 years, 20 years ago. And as a kid, I forget exactly why he went there, but then he stayed there and that's what he does. He finds books that people want in different other countries. He writes them and then has it sold to those countries.
I see. Okay,
And
okay,
that's where he gets most of his revenue is from other countries.
wow.
Yeah. So it's a, thought. I mean, you have a good book, so might as well make as much as you can off of it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I
And,
I try to, yeah.
and they're saying the series is where you can make your most money from once you get a series going, or if you create a new series, that's how you can make most of your money. That's where the money comes from, not the individual books, but the actual if you do a series.
Yeah.
Have you haven't done an Audible one yet, right? Not that
I'm doing
anybody
my own audiobook.
are you?
Yeah,
A
I've already started doing that. I'm on the 3rd chapter. They're like
little
an
bit
hour and
harder.
a half. Each chapter is like an hour and a half long because my chapters are quite lengthy. They're like 30 something pages each.
Do you keep everything in?
Everything. Oh yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause there's
absolutely.
nothing worse than, listening to a book that's not from the author. That's just how
Yeah.
I wanna hear the author. I don't wanna hear some other person saying it. So,
Mhm. Mhm. No, I agree. I sympathize with that position 100%. I'm the same way. And that's why I'm doing it actually. So is Shakespeare. A lot of people I asked my followers, I was like, should I leave the ticks in if I have to? And they're like, leave them in.
yeah, 'cause they want it truly to be you, right?
Yeah.
'Cause if you took them out, then they might think you're lying. So,
Yeah.
yeah. He's not really disabled, he just makes that stuff up.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah. Oh man. Sometimes I wish I was joking. Sometimes I wish it was all a ruse because it's really painful.
So you have better days and worse days, I take it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Today's a better day.
Well, I'm glad I got
Yesterday, a rough day. I was buying a car yesterday. I bought a new car yesterday, and I had to be in the dealership for hours, and of course, so I'm having ticks in front of everybody, and I'm yelling words, and hitting things and hitting myself, and this is all in public. Well, I know that everybody's sort of watching me, but not watching me.
Right.
They're trying very hard not to look at me. You know, it's like when actors don't look at the camera. I'm the camera, and everybody's pretending that they don't notice the guy yelling, and you know.
Yeah, I'm sorry the way you're going through there's, I understand you're like, I have to deal with it. But it's things that we have to deal with. It's different for everybody, but we all have something. I would just say, remember Carvana next time. Have them bring the car to you.
Oh, what is that? I've never heard of this.
Carvana?
Yeah.
You don't have it where you, yeah. Oh, I guess you've been out of the country for years. Carvana is somebody you can buy online. They'll bring the car right to you.
Oh, that's amazing.
But a lot of dealerships also, if you deal with the sales manager, the higher up, because that's how I used to. They would bring me. When I bought my Durangos years and years ago, they were like they bring it to me, and I just sign the contract. They leave, and so it just depends on the car that you want. My truck, though, I had to go to the one dealership that I got it from.
Mm.
But I'm just saying, there's other ways if you don't want to deal with that you can deal with it. But you already got your car, so it doesn't
I think they would. Yeah, it sounds like they would do something to accommodate me, especially given my condition. Yeah.
But you probably don't want to put people. You feel like you don't want to put people out. You're one of those veterans.
Yeah. Well, that's the nature of. I think being a corpsman, that's part of it.
Right.
We're there to serve other people, not be served.
Yeah. Kristof, it was really nice talking to you and getting to know you. And thanks for sharing your information about books. But I'm telling you, there's a whole market there for you if you want to add on to doing other things, to help other people do their books or help them with their covers, help them with the other stuff that they find is challenging for them. Because what you just taught me today is going to make mine so much easier, because I actually had the cover made with the words on it originally, just to see what it looks like. And now I know exactly what to do going forward. Just create the graphic and then just upload it to Amazon.
You launch the cover creator. It's very intuitive. It's very easy. It's step by step. Yeah.
Because I mean, I originally created it. I don't know if I find on your phone, using Chat GPT on your phone will create things that are drastically better than using the desktop version.
Really?
Yeah, I created some amazing logos and graphics and stuff but if I do it on the computer, it seems like it doesn't work as well.
That's
like
interesting.
it will have the words look differently.
This is my cover for the second one. The Chat GPT made this one too. That's really kind of cool.
It is. So you just had
Yeah.
one big graphic made and you wrapped it around the book, basically.
Yep. So it does it like this. Sorry.
I got you.
Yeah,
I see
it does it like this, and and when it's on the website itself, it's laid out like this, and you just click the box and you type it in whatever your title is, and you choose a format itself, like the way the layout is. You choose from a number of layouts, and yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have to go through it and stop. And then on the formatting for the inside of the book, right? The words and everything. How do you write your stuff in like a word process? Like what's that word processor? Microsoft Word or Apple. What do you use?
To make sure, I use Microsoft Word, and the most important thing, especially for uh the books and stuff, to actually get it to where it is formatted correctly, is to use page breaks. And now people, I know that's not, it's all it is Control Enter. So after you finish a
Right.
chapter, you just hit Control Enter, and then that way the like if you're on the Kindle version of the book, it'll know, oh, this is the end of the page, and then the next page will start the new chapter. If you don't do that, it's all it formats all it's screwy,
Right.
and it gets all messed up. So
But when you
it's
create the page break, it goes to the next page anyway, right? For a lot
yeah.
of, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one thing I did do, because I started doing some ebooks through and there's a company called Designer with 2 R's, and they'll help you write this whole new, because you want to have lead magnets for your websites and certain things, and so I wanted to create some of those ebooks, and I had to learn how to heading one, subheading, because the way they set up differently for when you're doing it. Is that the
Mhm.
same thing you have to do in Word for your books? Like, this is the heading and this is this, or do you not worry about that as
Oh,
much?
man. Yeah, you have to there's a number of settings that you have to change, and it's like it's really in the weeds because there's so much, like, the margins have to be correct so that, like, when it's printed, the words end up like this, like, they end up correctly, laid out, because if you don't do it, they end up like they'll end up all the way up here. The words will end
Okay.
up on
So
it's
you
it
set it up like a 6 by 9, because in Word you can do like a 6 by 9 book.
Mhm.
Is that what your book is? I couldn't tell. Do you know what size your
Yeah, I
book is?
think it's a 5.5 by 8 something.
Okay, okay.
Uh,
But you can
yeah.
set that in Word, you can set that up to where it's formatted that way. Is that how you
Mhm.
did it, or you just uploaded the document and make the changes up in Amazon?
No, no, you have to do that in the document itself and to make sure that it's all structured correctly.
Right. So that way when you upload it, it's already there, right?
And yeah.
And I have one more question. How come you didn't do volume 1 and then volume 2 in 2 separate books?
Shakespeare. So, I thought I was gonna be able to give it away for free, like volume 1. I thought I was gonna be able to do that for free permanently, but you can't just give away books on Amazon, apparently. They don't let you yeah, they won't host a book just for free forever. So, like, uh, unless it's in public domain, I guess. So I ended up, and I wanted to, charge for volume 2 so that people knew, like, what they were that it was worthwhile. So they would read volume 1 for free, and then if they wanted to, they could buy volume 2, but then, I ended up just having to combine them when I realized that, I couldn't do that.
So volume 1 was your loss leader to get them to go to
Yeah.
volume 2. Most people don't know what loss leader is. So
Mhm.
that's what a store, when peas are so many cents at the grocery store, and then you buy everything else at the high prices.
Um,
Yeah, loss leader. Then in my industry, that's what a pest report is. A pest report is when they look at the house, tell you if there's pests. They do it for like $75 or $100, and then their money making is the repairs that they charge you to do.
interesting.
Yeah. So, but yeah. Well, I mean, and so did you have your volume 1 up for free for a while, and then you just slapped volume 1 and 2 together and sold it that way once you had finished volume 2?
No, I originally published volume 1 as a standalone book.
That's what I was asking. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
And so volume 1 was a standalone book, you gave it away, and then you found out you couldn't do it, so when you got your volume 2 done, or did you have volume 1 and 2 done at the same time?
Volume 1 and 2 were done at the same time, yeah.
Okay. So you gave 1 away, and then they had to buy 2, and then you're like, "Okay, I can't keep doing this, so I'm gonna slide them together into 1 book."
I tried to I literally wasn't allowed to do it, and so whenever I found that out, I just combined them.
Okay, gotcha.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah, see, yeah, I would have still just did 2 different books, because
Yeah, with
it's just a
the way that the way that the story is structured, it wouldn't have ended correctly. Like, for me, it needed to feel like a complete adventure.
I understand, but what I'm saying is that's what they do to you on TV if you watch any series. It's
Mhm,
somebody you don't know who died, how they died, or whatever, or what happened, so that you come back the next year and figure it out. So
mhm,
next season,
mhm,
you know, and even though I hate that, but that's what some shows do.
mhm.
Christoph, again, it was nice having you on today. Is there anything else you want to give our people before you go, or how do they find you? So they can find your books are on Amazon, Second Son on Amazon, volume 1
Mhm.
and 2, and volume 3 and 4 is coming out this year, supposedly. And I'm just saying, I don't mean that wrong, because you never know, something might
No,
happen.
no, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
we're only in the beginning of 2025, first week.
Mhm.
So there's a good 90% chance it's coming out this year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm 116,000 words into it, so
Wow.
The Hobbit's 98,000 for people that don't know, how that works. So it's pretty long so far. But yeah, it's, kristofmorrow.com. And I actually teach writing for free. So if anyone ever wants to do that, yeah, I would like to provide a service like Helping the Brave does, which for veterans, like doing something and offering a service. And the three things that I think are impossible to come by, which is you get quality time and a lot of time with somebody. It's free, and the person is competent. How often do you get those three things
Not very often.
together? I like to offer that. I like to offer those three things to people. So I give hours. I'll work with them for hours for free, and I'm very good at what I do, I think. Um, and so I can, yeah, I would help a veteran any day of the week. They just have to let me know that they need it.
Okay. Well, so reach out to, and that was Kristof Morrow. So it's KRISTOF MORROW.com. Check him out. And like he just said, he'll help you write for free. And then if you have questions about how to get your book up on Amazon or anything else, sounds like he knows exactly what to do. So reach out to him also. Anything else today, sir?
No, I treasure your trust. Thank you for having me today.
Oh,
It's been amazing, Ed.
it's been a pleasure. I really had a great conversation with you, and you actually helped me on my book journey. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right. Stay right there.